Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and all of this divided by 2a. Negativo b más o menos la raíz cuadrada de b cuadrado menos 4ac, y todo esto dividido por 2a.
All right, here we go. We are talking about using the quadratic formula to solve quadratic equations. All right, so first you will be given a quadratic equation in standard form, okay? And so that means you're going to have an x squared term followed by an x term followed by a constant equals 0, preferably, and in most cases it's going to have to be equal to 0, but it may say y equals, but either way you're going to have the highest degree is going to be x squared. You're going to have an x squared term, a regular x term, and then a constant term. The coefficients of those terms will be our a, b, and c. And so the first step will be to identify a, b, and c. First thing. So let's look at the coefficient of the x squared term. We just have a minus sign there. So therefore we know that when we don't have a number, we just have a negative sign. When we don't have a number at all, it's just 1. But if you see a negative sign and there's no number, that means it's negative 1. So in our case, a is negative 1. And then the coefficient to the x term is positive 3, as you can see. And then the constant that we have is positive 4. All right, so we've identified a, b, and c. The second step is to simply plug a, b, and c into the appropriate places in the formula. So we're starting off with negative b. All right, and so negative b will be replaced with 3. So it'll be negative 3. We have a positive 3, but it's going to change to the opposite of the positive 3. It's going to be a negative 3. Next we have plus or minus. That's a part of the formula, so we're going to keep that there. The square root is the part of the formula, so we have to keep that. The next thing we're going to replace is b and b squared. So we're going to replace that b with 3, and so it's going to be 3 squared. Moving right along, we got minus 4, and then we're going to have a and c. And so a is obviously negative 1, c is positive 4, and so we end up with minus 4 times negative 1 times 4. All of this divided by 2a. So 2a, the a will be replaced by negative 1. And hey, we plugged it into the formula. And now all we have to do next is simplify this big hairy looking thing. All right, and so in order to start us off, we're going to just move from left to right. We're going to start with the negative 3. Can we simplify that? No. So we're just going to bring it down. It's going to be negative 3 right there. We're going to keep the plus and minus. The square root of 3 squared. So 3 squared is the next thing. We're going to simplify everything underneath the radical now. As a group, we're going to do this together one at a time. So just moving left to right. 3 squared is simply 9. Okay, we know that 3 times 3 is 9. Then we have negative 4 times negative 1. That equals positive 4. Positive 4 times positive 4 is positive 16. And so we have the square root of 9 plus 16 on top so far. And divided by 2 times negative 1 is simply negative 2. And now we're going to keep simplifying. That's one simplification. We're going to simplify it even further. We keep the negative 3. Plus or minus stays the same. We go ahead and add 9 plus 16 and we get 25. Square root of 25 happens to be a perfect square. We know what that's going to be. And that's all divided by negative 2. Moving right along, we have negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 5 turned into, the square root of 25 turned into 5 divided by negative 2. Now it's time to do something with this plus or minus. The plus or minus means we're going to have 2 different options here. We're going to have negative 3 plus 5 divided by negative 2, and we're going to have negative 3 minus 5 divided by 2. So we got negative 3 plus 5 divided by negative 2, and we have negative 3 minus 5 divided by negative 2. So simplifying the top there, the top is going to turn out to be positive 2 because we had negative 3 plus 5. That's positive 2 on top, still have the negative 2 on the bottom. The other one ends up being negative 8 on top because we had negative 3 minus 5 that time. So that's negative 8 divided by negative 2. And we all know that 2 divided by negative 2 simply simplifies to negative 1. And we have a negative 8 divided by a negative 2, which is a positive 4. And so our x-intercepts, zeros, roots, or solutions, either one, either name will do, is negative 1, x equals negative 1, and x equals positive 4.
Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and all of this divided by 2a. Negativo b más o menos la raíz cuadrada de b cuadrado menos 4ac, y todo esto dividido por 2a.